The return of a highly anticipated HBO series is even more exciting after one key actor's performance in Amazon's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. In what is being referred to as more of a remix of the 2005 action comedy movie than a remake, Mr. and Mrs. Smith offers a more innovative and relatable take on the original concept, exploring more complex themes within real-world marital issues. Despite these changes, the series still provides a great deal of suspense and action sequences that will resonate with fans of the Brad Pitt-Angelina Jolie classic. Mr. and Mrs. Smith features an outstanding ensemble cast, including award-winning actors such as Paul Dano, Alexander Skarsgård, Sarah Paulson, and John Turturro. Donald Glover, who plays one of the John Smith characters in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, also created the series along with fellow Atlanta writer Francesca Sloan. The series has received widespread critical acclaim and has earned an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes following its February 2 premiere, making it one of the highest-rated new original series of 2024. Parker Posey's Mr. and Mrs. Smith role makes her casting in The White Lotus Season 3 more exciting. Parker Posey is also one of the acclaimed actors in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which makes the recent announcement of her joining the cast of The White Lotus Season 3 even more exciting. Posey plays one of the several Jane Smith characters that appear in the new Amazon series, in which she is paired with a John Smith character played by Wagner Moura, Narcos, Civil War. Posey and Moura's Mr. and Mrs. Smith work on the level of super high-risk missions for the mysterious secret agent company. Before being cast in both Mr. and Mrs. Smith and The White Lotus Season 3, which is expected to be released on HBO in 2025, Posey recently appeared in Ari Aster's latest film Beau is Afraid alongside Joaquin Phoenix. Her last work on an HBO project was in the 2022 miniseries The Staircase, starring Colin Firth, Toni Collette, and Sophie Turner. After a relatively quiet 2010s, Posey made a comeback of sorts as a recurring character on the Netflix sci-fi epic series Lost in Space. Parker Posey has a history of playing suspicious characters in murder mysteries. Jennifer Jolie and Gale Weathers looking upset in Scream 3. Posey's early works also make her casting in The White Lotus Season 3 a great fit. Most notably, Posey had one of the leading roles in Scream 3 as Jennifer Jolie who, like virtually everyone else in the movie, became a suspect for Ghostface. This role provides a glimpse at how Posey's White Lotus character might be developed as someone who could very well be a murder suspect in the series. Her deceitful Jane Smith character in Mr. and Mrs. Smith hints that Posey's White Lotus character may be just as untrustworthy.